Good morning. My father and I left South Mission Beach and we moved into an apartment at 365 Bonar Street in La Jolla, California. We were only a few minutes away from the beautiful Wind Sea Beach, and it was only 15 minutes to walk to my La Jolla High School, and we definitely were coming up in the world because his business was succeeding in making us financially more secure. I believe it was at the end of 1967 when Victor Charles lost his Encino home. During that year, he performed in 4 Batman programs, acted in 1 stage production, and he only had a small cameo part in a so-so quality motion picture. Agent Jerry Rosen must have been desperate to get Victor Charles back on track of working with celebrity actors and actresses again. Victor Charles's star wasn't rising. It was falling. And he had to do something quickly to turn things around, or he would be losing his acting career in television and motion pictures. Starting off in 1967, Victor Charles performed in the television program The Wild Wild West, titled The Night of the Feathered Fury, on January 13, 1967. His role was Count Carlos Mansepe, and the producer was Michael Carrison. Once again, Victor Charles was playing in the television program of King Tut on March 8, 1967, in the episode of King Tut's Coup. Following that, he was a guest star in the television program of The Cat on March 26, 1967. Victor Charles performed in the television program The Girl from U.N.C.L.E., titled The Phi Betty Killer Affair, on June 4, 1967, and he had a few words to share, saying, "I'm absolutely convinced that one's stature determines the type of role which he will be permitted to play. If one is unable to see his shoelaces while standing up, he's a bad guy. No doubt that's why villains are called heavies. As villains go, this said Brooke fellow is rather lightweight, but he's still a villain, and therein lays the crux of my comment. I've been a professional rotter in movies and on television for 6 years. In that time, I have personally murdered some 50 human beings. I have been directly and indirectly responsible for the demise of another 75. My general history of robbery, pillage, tear, and brutality makes Genghis Khan look like Mary Poppins. The sex life of a Hollywood villain is virtual nil. I would appear that bad guys don't have a very happy home lives. I'm seldom permitted to have a wife or children. The closest I ever came to children on the screen was once when I kidnapped Loretta Young's daughter, but the policeman made me give her back. I lost 50 pounds, not that you'd ever know it. It's like the difference between 0 and 10 degrees. It's still cold. The difference between 350 and 400 pounds is still pretty fat. And a short time later, on July 27, 1967, he was playing King Tut again in the episode of Batman's Waterloo. Victor Charles soon played the role of Mr. Memory in the television program Dick Tracy, titled The Plot to Kill Nato, and it was only 27 minutes in length. There was no date of the month or day in 1967 and no other newspaper clippings of it. The summary of the program reads, Supervillain Mr. Memory has 3 ambassadors set to attend a secret NATO conference about the Northern European defense system kidnapped in order to derail NATO and benefit an unnamed group or nation led by a man named Major Power. Chip Patton turns to his best man, Dick Tracy, to rescue the ambassadors and keep the conference on track. William Self was the executive producer at 20th Century Fox. On September 14, 1967, he played in the role of Mr. Cove in the television program Daniel Boone, in the episode of The Ballad of Sidewinder and Cherokee. The executive producer was Aaron Rosenberg. The only picture Victor Charles performed in during 1967 was Who's Minding the Mint? He played a small role as the captain. Here are a few of the names of the other actors: Jim Hutton, Walter Brennan, Bob Denver, Joey Bishop, Jamie Fair, and Jack Kilford. In one of the newspapers it printed, Victor Buono is the highlight of all this insanity. Bono's most distinguished moment comes when his craft folds up and he bravely sinks into the murky depths of the sewer, waving a tiny American flag. Victor Charles played King Tut in Batman once again on October 19, 1967, in the episode of The Unkindest Tut of All. And to top off the year of 1967, Victor Charles performed in playwright Sted's Turkel's play On the Stage at the Mendelssohn Theater on December 1st, 1967, in the stage production of Amazing Grace. It was produced by the New Play Project of the University of Michigan. As the year of 1967 was coming to an end, I don't believe my Uncle Victor Charles believed he was a young Orson Welles or Sidney Greenstreet, because he wasn't in demand in any classic motion pictures. Going into 1968 was a major drought for him by not working in quality motion pictures and for the lack of playing roles in television programs. My father and I left South Mission Beach and we moved into an apartment at 365 Bonaire Street in La Jolla, California. We were only a few minutes away from the beautiful Winning Sea beach, and it was only a 15-minute walk for me to get to La Jolla High School. We had our own bedrooms. We had a large living room, 1 bathroom with a bathtub and shower, and a nice-sized kitchen to cook in. We definitely were coming up in the world because his business was succeeding and making us financially more secure. Victor Charles moved away from his Encino home sometime before or shortly after 1968. It must have been one of his darkest moments since going up to Hollywood in 1962, and things were looking rather bleak because of lack of work in television and motion pictures. His agent, Jerry Rosen, departed from him sometime in late 1967 or early 1968. I wish I knew what came between them, because they were very close during those last 7 years or so. Victor Charles did get another agent, and I can't recall his name, but later on, around 1970, his new agent would soon bring a big surprise to Victor Charles's life. Victor Charles soon moved into the Monkey House in the Yamashiro grounds above the Graham's Chinese Theater at 6925 Hollywood Boulevard, and the description of the Monkey House goes like this. Originally built to house a collection of monkeys, the namesake Monkey House was built like a cave, made of chicken wire and plaster on the inside. where the monkeys could sleep. An outdoor area featured small ponds and swings. In the late 1950s, the monkey house was converted to an apartment and rented to celebrities like Randy Prince, whose father owned much of the Hollywood Boulevard. Prince's lavish parties became well known around Hollywood. My father Sonny and I visited Victor Charles and my grandma Mert at the Monkey House in Hollywood in 1968. Grandma Mert told us a funny story about the day when she went out to the swimming pool to sunbathe and she saw a naked man laying by the pool. She obviously felt uncomfortable because it was only she and him, and she didn't want to keep looking at his transparent anatomy any longer. She immediately returned to her home and told Victor Charles what she just saw and wanted to know who that man was. He went to look at the pool, and when he returned, he calmly said to her, "If you've watched the television Western Bonanza, Mother, you just saw Adam Cartwright's Family Jewels. And the man you were looking at is actor Pernell Roberts." I'll never forget her smile and her hard laughing, and I also thought she might have liked what she saw.